So the other day we ended up swinging PTON. PTON was called out in the chat the other day. Really glad we ended up taking profits when we did. You know, I'm really big on just, I really like overnight swings, which is awesome because I think a lot of people really like overnight swings. And it's just really easy to just take profits the very next day. Not every trade will turn out like that, of course, but it is very nice when you can have that opportunity. My big breakout level was above 127, just grabbing off the range here. I really like this tweezer bottom here. It's really a tweezer bottom with a kind of a bullish engulfing look to it, with a nice spike in volume, but again, not really a spike like in relative terms. Spike in correlation with like current volume right here. Of course, you can see it's definitely not a spike in volume compared to other candles on this chart. But very nice to see that happen. But as you can see on the smaller time frames is where we ended up managing ourselves very well. We ended up taking about 24-25% profits in this first 10-minute candle on most of the plays, or I'm sorry, most of the contracts. In the last contract or two, we ended up selling at almost the high of the day. I think it was about somewhere in this candle. It was right as 129 was being passed. Yeah, right there. And the contract went from about 365 when we grabbed it here to about 700 flat here. I think it was like 455 here or something. I can't remember. It was about 24-25%. And then right here we did about 90 something percent. So very nice trade there. Again, though, not every trade is going to be that just simple where you get in, get out. But that is very awesome when the pattern plays do work out how they are intended. Again, not every day it's just going to happen the next day. Sometimes you get that reset candle and you have to kind of fight that day and just stick to what you know, stick to your 50% control point, stick to the pattern, the boundaries of the pattern. And then after that it had moved on. We'd kind of just moved on to day trading a lot of stuff. But yesterday we had talked about a ton of potentials. We just kind of went through some setups, and we had a couple of them where we were like, we just need to wait a day. And I'm really glad that we did on some of them because, as you guys can see, the other day when we went over SSYS, we liked that it was a bullish Harami, but we didn't like that there was no spike in volume. I mean, this is just a normal day, really. I just see this as kind of like a buyer day, and that 50% control point, concept still applies here. I mean, it doesn't have to be above that to be a good bullish Harami, but I would at least like to see the, volume spike. We didn't get that. So we had said in stream yesterday, let's just sit on this. Let's wait for a confirmation candle. If tomorrow's green and it gets above this candle, that's why we have this drawn here. We would have taken calls. We'd be taking calls today. It didn't though. We ended up getting a red day today, and it's dropping a little further. So we might end up getting a better average support down here somewhere, so we can actually get a better call out most likely. But still going to keep that on watch. Sun W was another one of those that we said we really like the Harami cross, but we don't like the non-spike in volume. I mean, that's just very low volume. It's not really a whole lot. So nothing very promising. Very good spot to see that pop up. So the positioning was there, but as you can see, we did really good by just kind of avoiding and waiting for confirmation candle. And sometimes waiting is just the best decision. As you can see, it fell through, and now we're probably going to get, as you can see, rising sellers, and now we're probably going to get a better buy, just like we saw on the other chart. So we're probably going to wait on those. One of them that did work out that we drew up a trade plan for was DQ, and this was, I think, the most confident one I was talking about just because I'd already been watching it. We had missed out on this Morning Star. I didn't want to be, chasing it here, so we waited. This had pushed down, then we talked about it again yesterday. I really didn't like it at the beginning of us talking about it because it was really only down here and the volume was a lot lower. Towards the end of the day, it got more of a pump and the volume picked up. The candle ended up closing a lot higher, so it ended up looking a lot stronger end of day. So we didn't get to signal that, but we did cover that. So very nice to see this still pan out. We still visualize what actually happened. As you can see, it even picked up rising buyers. This might even pick up another day before it reverses. In case it does reverse, though, we know of a couple levels it can stop at. We now know that this little range here can be stopped at any point. At any point that gap fill can be stopped at. It can come down here to the top of this candle right here and stop for price that is when it retests. So we can look for many trade opportunities on that as this new trend is trying to form here. So now we're going to see, is this becoming something? Is this just a continuation down? Now we're going to start seeing, is it going to start building up as it crosses more of these downtrend angles? Right now it's past that angle, yeah, but that's the most aggressive angle. There's still a whole lot more to look past here. As you can see, it's really not past. Hold on, let me draw that a little better. It's really not past, that angle. So there's still a little bit more to go. Even if you draw from the body, you can see it's still rejecting. So kind of look at it from a bunch of different angles. But as you can see, we missed out on it. But really, there's still going to be a bunch of opportunities on this, and what we planned out still works. So we can still at least come back to this and visualize. While we're still taking a bunch of other trades. You don't always have to take. You really only need to take like one trade for a while per day or so. But while you're doing that though, you should be reviewing and planning out and preparing a bunch of other trades, whether you're in it or not. That will help you really big. So that was mainly what I wanted to cover today. There's a bunch of other breakdowns, of course, that we can cover. I just need to go back through a list that we set up here. All right, so ZM is one that is preemptively looking a little bearish. Jason had brought this up in the voice chat this morning. As you guys can see, though, more towards the end of the day, we're kind of getting a bearish dark cloud cover. What I marked here was just the 50% of this day right here, and that is to prove that this is below that. So this is looking good, but it's also not below a better trend line. So I'm going to go on the 4-hour real quick, and I'm going to draw this right here. So as you can see, it's still above a really good trend line. So it may just pull back down, but definitely not a high probability short swing. It might have some probability to this trend line, but it's definitely not, something we want to jump in just yet. Let's wait. Let's get that confirmation, see if it's going to stick through this or not. Tomorrow, if it ends up cracking through this, guess what? We're going to be shorting Zoom the next couple days, most likely. So that'd be really cool. This could be the start of a break. It doesn't always have to be what gets you in the trade. It can be what starts you in the trade. Let's look at past times it didn't really fall through that trend line but had a bearish candle. Just straight off the top, you instantly find a bearish engulfing and a bearish engulfing tweezer top. Just instantly I found that. And both times held trend line, held trend line. So let's wait right here. Another one. Bearish harami, a very, very nice bearish harami. Another bearish candle. Pulled back the trend line over time, pulled back the trend line over time. But again, that trend line holds up each time. So you never want to just enter that for a bigger, high probability trade. But this is what can lead you to a higher probability trade. So definitely keep that on your minds as you're kind of looking at that. Let's kind of look at a couple other ones. Oh, that's from another stream. In case you missed the Mustache stream. But as you can see, though, Roku having a very nice run up, then having Apple News with it, now carrying it back down with lowering volume, I might add, with the bearish engulfing candlestick here. So what that makes me think is, yes, it probably will drop a little bit more over time, but this isn't like hardcore bearish. This isn't saying, this is going all the way to here. It would be very healthy for it to retest right here, actually, but most likely it's going to retest 50% of whatever that last breakout is. So let's clear all that. Let's mark range of this breakout. And then we'll do our little cheatsy Fibonacci. And we have a high probability area of where Roku could most likely head. So as you can see, it kind of adds up with our initial analysis saying, yes, it is bearish for short-term retracement, but we're not saying it's going to head down all the way to here. What's another good spot? A 50% retracement or that other retracement where you tend to see a lot of algos buy up with a 78.6. So, but again, a lot of the time these ends up lining up with, guess what? Emerging candles. So you end up marking a lot of your buyer candles. You end up getting those levels already. So however method you want to use, all you. But as you can see, definitely going to be looking at Roku at 412s. It ends up dropping down here and giving us that retest that we want. Awesome. Ideally, I would love to see a gap down and then some sort of slow, low volume day. And then another gap up to give us that morning star look, and then we can have a little more confidence off of that lowering volume to support with the pattern play here at the bottom. So that's us being preemptive. We're not making up anything. Whatever happens, happens. We take it. But below this level, yeah, we're going to definitely start shorting it a little more. That's most likely where the seller volume will pick up. As long as it holds above that 50%, though, we definitely have to assume and be preemptive that a pattern will pop up or that something is going to build here like a base and then it start building back up to the 460s again. But that's, another good take, another good little break on a chart there. If you guys have any tickers you guys want me to look at, let me know. I have tons of stuff to check out. Oh, I guess we can check out the DM analysis as well. I haven't done a video for that yet, but a big thing with this one is that the sector it's in is all trying to retrace and catch base. It's part of the 3D sector, but not entirely. They're kind of ahead of the game. But a big thing with them, though, is if you go to the, let me move that. If you go to the overall chart, you can see all-time low is 940. So you're taking very, very low risk on this company. I'm actually genuinely surprised this company is even down this low. Just from a value standpoint, reading up on them, looking into them a lot more, you can see like, damn, why are they even this low? Like, how are they this low? So I know they are, a working company. This isn't like some scam company we're looking at. And it has picking up, rising seller volume down to these supports. So that makes me think, yes, it's going to catch support. let's take this low risk, high reward trade, you know, because what's the stop loss? 940. Why is that? That's the all-time low. It goes lower than that. I have no idea where it's gonna go. You know, it goes below 940. It could go all the way to 9, go to 8, go to 5, go to 1. You know, so that's our stop loss. We're not gonna, you know, lose anything below that. But as long as it's above that, we're in this trade for the long haul. That's why we got some time on it with that January 2022. I almost ended up getting the February 2022, but this was good enough for me. So kind of taking the risk reward on a good value company. I really don't understand how they're this low. Just because most of the sector that they relate to, yes, they are doing this move, but they're not down here. You know, a lot of those stocks are like way up here coming down. So I really want to see what kind of hiccup this stock ends up having. But yeah, below the 10s, we're definitely not going to be holding that much longer. Below the 940s, we're entirely out. So that's just kind of my breakdown on the desktop metal analysis and why we're in that, why that was signaled today. Jason had talked about it in the voice chat. I had kind of talked about it a little more afterwards, and here I am again, kind of breaking it down. But very awesome weekly chart too, as you can see, lowering seller volume. So a big thing with like how we chart too is you saw me on the daily, and it looks kind of scary. You know, it looks very scary. But then you kind of back it out to the weekly, and it's like, oh, that's not so bad. You can see it's lowering, you know, as it's kind of going out. So as this week comes to a close, I want to see how this candle looks. I want to see how much volume's here. You know, it's Wednesday already, so we only have Thursday and Friday left. So definitely going to be looking at the volume and how much is here towards the end of the week. But very confident in this trade. I ended up picking just 2 up for now, and then 12 on the other account. I'll probably end up picking a little bit more as it picks up. Good momentum buy would be over this right here at the 14. So if we end up getting some, you know, very nice run, I will definitely be looking to pick up some more, you know, just short-term swings to pick up more of a play on that. But we're already in for the long haul, so no need to try and get over risked on it. No need to keep averaging in and, you know, overexposing yourself. So just a good thought.